Welcome to the channel that will leave you speechless, send chills down your spine, and make you question every choice you made today. This is not entertainment. This is a warning. Beneath the roots of the oldest tree in the forest, hidden from the eyes of the world, lived a thriving ant colony. Thousands of ants worked day and night, moving in perfect order, each assigned their place, each proud of their role. Among them was a tiny ant named Arlo. Unlike the warriors with their armored jaws, or the scouts with their quick legs, Arlo was a cleaner. His job was to sweep crumbs from tunnels and gather fallen leaves. While the others carried food or guarded the queen, Arlo moved dust. But his eyes burned with something fierce. At night, when the tunnels grew quiet, Arlo trained in secret. He carried pebbles on his back, ran laps through twisting burrows, and studied old colony maps no one else cared about. He knew he would never be strong, but he could be smart, and fast, and brave. Deep inside he believed one day the colony would need him, and when that time came, he would be ready. The storm came with whispers. It began with a scout, panting, injured, barely able to speak. "Fire ants," he gasped, "crossed the river, marching this way." Gasps echoed through the halls. The fire ants were ruthless. Larger, redder, and cruel, they left only ash behind, devouring colonies, burning fields, conquering everything. Queen Elira summoned her generals. "We must prepare," said Captain Thorn. "We hold the lines. We protect the core." Arlo watched from the shadows, unseen. Defences were raised. Sap traps were laid. Warriors trained harder, but the truth was clear. The fire ants were too many. The colony was not ready. And yet, Arlo saw paths in the dirt others missed, tunnels long forgotten, routes that could be weaponized, and something began to form in his mind. A plan. The queen called for ideas. Silence fell. No general dared speak of retreat, but none had a strategy to win. And then Arlo stepped forward. "Your Majesty," he said, his voice shaking, "let me try." The hall filled with laughter. A cleaner, in war, but the queen, wise beyond years, lifted her antennae. "Let him speak." Arlo unfolded the map. He showed tunnels no one used, chambers filled with flammable herbs, streams of cold dew underground. He explained how they could turn the earth itself against the invaders. There was silence. Captain Thorn stepped forward. "If this fails—" "It won't," said Arlo. "Not if we believe." The queen paused, then nodded. "The plan is accepted." And so, the smallest ant led the greatest operation. The night before battle was quiet, too quiet. Arlo couldn't sleep. He crept through the tunnels, checking traps, whispering words of courage to young workers and frightened soldiers. He passed the nursery, where the smallest larvae rested. He saw their tiny forms, the future of the colony. His legs trembled, but he stood tall. "If I must fall," he whispered, "let it be for them." Captain Thorn found him near the dew tunnels. "You remind me of someone I once knew," he said. "Brave, foolish, but brave." Arlo looked up. "Will we win?" "I don't know," Thorn said. "But I believe in you now, Arlo, and that counts for something." At dawn, the fire ants came. A river of red spilled through the underbrush. Thousands of legs, armored heads and jaws that gleamed like blades. They met the traps first, sap that glued their legs, tunnels that collapsed beneath them, leaves that burst with fire pepper powder. Screams echoed, the colony struck fast. From hidden doors, ant warriors poured out. They struck from shadows, vanished into walls. Arlo moved between battle zones, calling commands, patching breaks, adjusting plans. For hours the ground shook, but then, a crack the fire ants had found, an old tunnel, one not sealed in time. They began to push through, straight toward the Queen. The Queen's chamber was the last hope. Arlo rushed back, heart pounding. "We need to lead them away," he cried. "I know where to go. Follow me." Captain Thorn gathered the last defenders. To Arlo! They raced through a forgotten path. An ancient tunnel Arlo had discovered weeks ago, when cleaning near the deep roots. Behind them, the fire ants chased, screaming for blood. At the tunnel's end was a wide chamber, unused for seasons, filled with dry dust, crushed herbs, and the smell of gas from rotting leaves. The others hesitated. Arlo did not. He turned, broom in hand, and faced the oncoming swarm. The chamber echoed with chaos. Fire ants poured in like a wave. Arlo shouted, "Now!" Captain Thorn triggered the trapdoor behind them. Walls slammed shut. The fire ants were trapped. With Arlo and 5 defenders in the chamber. Arlo struck flint against rock. Sparks flew, the herbs ignited. A roaring flash filled the air, blasting dust and heat through the tunnel. The fire ants shrieked. Some ran, some fell. Smoke covered the walls. When it cleared, only Arlo remained standing. Barely. His legs buckled, but he had done it. The colony was still. Smoke drifted through the tunnels. Ants crept from their hiding places. Cries turned to silence. Then cheers. Arlo lay in the centre of the chamber. Burned, blackened, but breathing, they carried him to the Queen. She lowered her crown. "You saved us." Arlo opened one eye. "Did we win?" he asked. "Yes," whispered Captain Thorn. "Because of you." They held a great gathering. From worker to warrior, all ants came to honour the one who led them. Not with size, but with heart. Captain Thorn placed his own armour at Arlo's feet. "I name you Shield of the Colony." But Arlo shook his head. I'm still a cleaner," he said, "but now I clean with purpose." The Queen smiled. "Then let the broom be your blade." And so Arlo, smallest among them, became a legend. The ground trembled. Arlo stood at the heart of the tunnel gate, where the Queen's chamber lay only a breath away. Around him, the last of the warrior ants gasped for air, wounded and weary. The traps had done their work, but the fire ants had learned. Their final wave, larger, stronger, enraged, was now crashing through the final defences. The colony was breaking. Arlo's antennae twitched. His heart beat like thunder in his tiny chest. The secret chamber beneath the root. It hadn't been used in years, but he remembered the map. If they could draw the swarm into that chamber, he could finish it. "Follow me," he shouted to the last 6 ants who still stood. "We end it now." They ran, through the smoke, through broken tunnels, behind them. The fire swarm raged. Arlo dived first. into the dark, into the ancient hollow beneath the great tree's roots. It was wide damp, filled with dry dust and gas from fermenting leaves. A single spark could change everything. He waited, listened. The swarm entered. Then he struck a flint. Light burst. The chamber ignited. A roaring cloud of smoke shot upward, bursting through the main tunnel. The fire ants screamed. The ground shook again, then fell still. Arlo lay motionless, his body coated in ash, but his eyes still open. Above him, Captain Thorn dropped to his knees. He did it! And deep within the colony, where the Queen watched with silent grace, a single tear of honey fell. For Arlo, the smallest ant, had done what no warrior had. He gave everything, and the colony still stood.